Hey YouTube, I'm Coach Dragonmar and welcome to a new video. If you feel like you aren't impacting rounds and just failing to find the value for your team in each game, then this video is made for you. We'll be talking about some of the important tips for increasing impact frags, especially getting more first bloods. As always, if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure you leave a like, subscribe for more, and comment what you want to see next. Before we jump into the video, I do quickly want to thank today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Valorant Tracker. With the dawn of a new act upon us, the time for improvement is now. The Valorant Tracker in-game app should be your go-to for analysis of your gameplay. You could see your negative and positive trends in your recent games, overall KD and ADR broken down by the agents you play. You can even check win rates on maps and break it down further by attack and defense, as well as checking your games on each map with each agent, allowing you to compare and contrast your play in your role. Think you're struggling with your aim? Check your headshot percentage. Want to check the ranks of your opponents in the game? You could do that as well. Want to learn a lineup as you play the map? You could do that. I use Valorant Tracker to check on all of my students in coaching for a reason. It's an insanely useful tool for development. The best part is that it's completely free. Check it out yourself with the link in the video description. I talk a lot about impact frags. It's one of probably the most important topics to understand in terms of just understanding value in a game like Valorant. I always say this, but every kill is created differently. They're not all equal, right? And because of this, we need to understand where value actually comes from. So the first question we want to answer before we get into the advice and the tips is, what's an impact frag? Well, essentially think of it this way. It's a high value kill. What does value come from? Well, first and foremost, the first kill of the round, the first blood, probably one of the highest sort of impact frags you can get. You'll even look at pro play. They'll show you the conversion of rounds based on those first bloods. That's how important it is, right? But there are other impact frags. Of course there are, right? What about the trading kill there? What about the kill that equalizes the round, brings a 4v5 into a 4v4? That's high impact as well. What about an early kill on a site retake? You and your team about to retake a site, you pop some guy in the head holding the site, boom. Now you're up numbers, equal, whatever. That's high impact. What if you kill somebody who has an ult that they're going to use that round, right? Boom, that's high impact. What if you kill someone as they're ulting, like a Viper who's ulting, you just pop her in the head, boom, high impact, right? Killing the spike carrier out in the open, dropping the spike down, allowing you to hold it. A lot of these kills go unrecognized, but honestly, they changed rounds. Now, what is this different then? Well, what am I not talking about? What's not an impact frag? If you just kill 3 guys with a classic with a phantom, hard to argue that there's much impact. Those are high value. They might even be first bloods, but for the most part, that's not what we're talking about. We're mostly talking about situations where you're at an equal sort of advantage in terms of weaponry, ultimates, utility, money, or maybe where you're even down players and you're equalizing the score or giving yourself an advantage in a very important, crucial part of a round, late round, early round, that kind of thing. So that's what we talk about when we talk about impact frag. Now, to start the video off, I want to talk about one of the best ways to get early kills, and that is through high ground. So when you take high ground, you're immediately shifting the focus of a fight upwards, which is very uncomfortable for most people in Valorant. They're not used to looking up. This isn't a game like Overwatch where there's a Pharah flying above you, right? You're mostly shooting at a relatively even sort of surface. There's definitely high ground and low ground on certain maps. But for the most part, when you clear a position, I want you guys to ask yourself, when you clear a short on bind, are you looking on top of truck or are you expecting someone down low and close to you? Answer that question. You'll see what I mean, right? Most people are not going to look up. This gives you the slightest advantage to get those early kills. What are some examples of this though? Maps like Icebox, where you have the generator on a site, great spot to play. Also, what about Yellow Box over at B Long? Another awesome spot to play, looking down B Long for those early picks. Let's not forget sites like Haven, or maps like Haven, excuse me. Haven, one of the best maps for high ground. You've got all of those boxes, the A sewer box, the double box on the top of sewer there, play on top of the site box on B, play on top of site box on C as well. All high ground positions, and of course, we can't forget Garage. Probably one of my favorite spots to play high ground with Omen. Looking down on players from Garage is awesome as they come in, nice free kills. Now, what's the key to high ground, right? This sounds so simple, Kyle. Like, this was the easiest thing in the world. I'm gonna go stand high ground every round. No, you're not, right? This is the problem. People take this too far by repeating plays. They get predictable and it ruins that advantage. So one thing you guys need to think about when it comes to everything I'm talking about here, especially when it comes to high ground usage, do not repeat the same plays over and over and over. And guess what? I don't talk about this enough, but what your team is doing matters as well. If you have a Jet on your team, you're playing Omen, your Jet plays Gen round 2 or something, round 3 maybe, and then you come back in round 4 and you play Gen. Congratulations. Like, they're going to expect you there. But this is where minimap awareness, checking where your team is playing, matters so much. Do not repeat the same thing over and over and over. Yes, it can work twice in a row. It's a little more risky. 3 times in a row, I think you're just asking to die. However, I do recommend coming back to spots that have worked in the past to try again later on. If something works, do not avoid it the rest of the half, right? Go back to it. But I do like variety, and I like switching up where you're playing, how you're playing your high ground. Very, very crucial. Now, tip number 2 is a little bit of me talking about a mistake people make, as well as what I feel like is an incredibly important but often misused tactic, and that is the early aggression paired with trading. Okay, so it's teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, right, guys? The biggest mistake I see players make is they'll try to make a push all on their own, an early but relatively good play that's just done entirely by themselves. They either get caught out by utility or they just instantly get traded and they die. What are some examples of what I'm talking about? How can this look and be done properly? Let's talk about Icebox, right? Again, A site, pushing past the orb under nest or into jail. How can you do this more efficiently? Well, with support from your teammates, of course. And again, the main focus here is trading. Once you die off of this push, first of all, you should be getting a kill before you die. If you're not getting a kill before you die, you've messed something up on this push, right? But the truth here is you need your team to support you, okay? So if I push into jail, what I will do is I will ask my teammates to cover rafters for me, or excuse me, to cover from rafters towards belt, to cover that top angle, allowing me to focus more of my time on the under nest players, the players who are going to try to move through A main, right, past the orb. Or if I want to push under nest, you know, past the orb to the right there, and look for that early pressures from those players coming from their spawn, I will ask for help from a teammate to push up with me. Hey, can you trade with me? Hey, could you play on top of pipes? You know, ask your team for support, guys. Do not try to be the hero. Do not try to make solo plays. It makes no sense why people do this round after round. Play off of your team. Okay, my goal when it comes to this type of aggressive trading is 3 to 4 times per half on defense. Another map, let's use Haven for example. Smoke out that mid window, walk down step, look for the fight towards grass. Have a teammate there. Have a team there not just to trade you, but to also cover the dropout, so you can focus a little more on the players in grass. What about Pearl? The biggest problem I see with Pearl right now, especially in my coaching sessions, is that nobody is playing mid together. On defense, I just see one guy art, no one double doors, or one guy double doors, no one art. And it's like a trip isn't going to trade you out. Play off of your teammates, make your pushes together, communicate. Okay, this is how you do this, communication. You ask your team, hey, can you trade me out here? Hey, can you shoot this dart? Hey, can you do X, Y, and Z for me? Ask your team to help you. Do not try to be a hero. Do not make the solo plays. Play off of your team. Remember, this is very, very important. This type of aggression leads to the enemy team using a ton more abilities to clear space. That is abilities they will not have to attack and execute your sites. That's why it's so important. You need to do this more. You're going to have a ton more early impact in your game. Is going to get some great kills too. Tip number 3 is for a few specific players out there. This is going to be for your Chambers, your Jets, your Reynas, Yorus, and some Omens as well, right? This is your get out of jail free card, early round aggression, kind of taking the high ground aggressive trades to the next level and just playing into the dumbest spots possible. Mainly going to be more so of off angles. You're just looking to kind of either hold or just get super aggressive. But the reason for this is because you have what we call a get out of jail free card. Now, Chamber, obviously with his teleporter, very simple. Jet with her dash, very simple. Reyna is dependent on kills, a little bit harder, or damage, I guess, damage and a kill. Yoru is dependent on a little bit of time to use his TP. And then Omen needs cover, and then cover to also teleport too. So he's a little more limited in where he can play, but he can definitely play some one and done positions, like in B main, in that cubby inside of B main on Ascent, right? That position is somewhere where Omen can get aggressive early, get back into cover, shrouded step his way back into B site, and, you know, run sidewalk or wherever he needs to go, right? So what is the key here? The key is, well, unfortunately, a lot of this is going to be opping, right? I got to be honest, Chamber, Jet, this is kind of their paradise, right? This is where they thrive. These early kills in positions that just make no sense to the average player. You're like, why are you playing there? And they're like, oh yeah, get a jail free card, right? So abusing things like your chamber teleport, if you play chamber and you do not abuse this ability, you are playing him wrong. If you do not get aggressive consistently on defense, pushing up, looking for those early kills from these off angles, you're playing him wrong. If you are not using your jet dash to escape these ridiculous fights, again, you're doing it wrong. And also using that dash to punish people as well, potentially, right? You hear a reload, dash at them, take that free kill, right? But the thing here, right, is these early round aggressive plays should really be done when you're doing it solo, right? This is different than the last tip, right? This isn't about team play here. These are players doing things on their own. Of course, you can always be done with your team, which I always recommend. But the key here, abuse the get out of jail free card, especially on chamber and jet. This is where if you're playing these agents and you're not doing this, I do feel like you're playing them incorrectly and you'd be better off on a different agent. All right, so tip number 4 is about communicating your abilities properly. This is where I see a lot of people lose their impact, lose the ability to get impact frags, completely ruin early aggression, even some good plays as well. And I don't understand the lack of comms when it comes to abilities, right? If you're playing a duelist with no flashes, why are you running dry through a smoke into a site? Yes, you're entering. Yes, you're playing your role in a way that, is kind of what we would expect. But does that mean you run through a smoke without any flashes? No. Now, if you're playing like, for example, a Raze, well, you'd be like, okay, Kyle, you don't have flashes. Great. Your team does, right? Your team's going to have flashes. Communicate. This is where you need to communicate, because this is a huge mistake. Again, less of a tip, more of a mistake, right? Is that people don't ask for support from their teammates, right? What's another classic we see about what we see the entries do wrong? The entry does not wait for smokes to go down first before pushing, right? Your omen smokes take time to land. Your brim might be preoccupied or too far away. Make sure your abilities are down from your team before you get into these sites. You want to know how you lose a game, how you throw rounds and lose the ability to get impact frags altogether? By just throwing away your life, by running through abilities without any ask for help, without saying one word. You guys should not be playing as a duelist if you don't want to talk, right? It is just the worst to play with duelists that don't talk, try to do things on their own. You rely entirely on teammates to coordinate and to kind of work together. And a no-comm duelist is some of the worst things in the world, I have to say. But the key here, again, communicating and asking for help. This is something I want everyone listening right now to be thinking about. When you play, are you asking for the right level of support? If I were to watch a VOD of yours, are you asking your Sova to dart before you go in? Are you asking a Sky to dog? Are you asking for a Fade to throw a haunt? If the answer is no, I would ask why. What are you scared of, right? What is the reason you're not looking to increase your success rate tremendously? Do not be a no-comm player. Please communicate. Ask for flashes. Ask for abilities to support you. This is where I see early aggression go wrong. People try to do everything on their own. If I'm going to go push up, let's say again, A on Iceball as a defender, I want to get aggressive. Let me ask for a flash from my Sky over the top. Let me ask for a raise nade. Let me ask for someone to shoot dart and hold rafters, or shoot a dart above rafters to slow, or a belt, excuse me, to slow them down up there, right? Like, there's so many different ways to play off of your team's abilities. There is no reason to not talk and not ask for this stuff. People are more than happy to help you, I promise. You just have to give it a try. You guys want to increase your impact frags, right? Well, here's a very important one, and that is tip number 5, which would be faster rotates, okay? What is the reason for this, and what am I even talking about? Fast rotates, you tell me to just leave sites? Well, what I am saying is that you guys ever feel like when you are playing on defense and your teammates lose a site, you get there in what feels like an impossible situation, a 1v5, a 2v4, just things where it's like, man, we really do not have any advantage here. We're gonna have to pull this one out of our butts, right? The truth there is that, yeah, sometimes your team messes up and they die too early, but sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you don't read the map correctly. Sometimes you don't listen to callouts correctly. Sometimes you're too stubborn or too slow to rotate fast enough. And this is where this kind of tip comes in. So my goal when it comes to increasing the time of my rotates is to look for tendencies in the enemy team first. Are they playing aggressive round after round? Have they been pushing fast? Do they delay? If they delay pushes, I will not rotate fast. However, if I'm playing a team that just likes to send it, any early aggression, any early pressure, any sign of life on that other site, I'm out of there. I'm gone, dude. I am on my way to that site to help them. The reason for this is that I would rather retake a site as 5 players than I would retake after my team has gotten wiped without my support. I feel very confident in my ability to support my team on these sort of site holds rather than I do on a retake down numbers. So I always want to try to put myself into those situations. Now I'm gonna play smart. I'm not just gonna, like, you know, maybe there's one footstep heard, I just full send it right across the map. But for example, if I see like a Skydog or a Reyna Lear or something on the minimap giving away valuable info that, hey, like, they're using util here, like they're setting something up, I am going to rotate. A lot of people don't respect some of these early abilities that show pressure, that show positioning, right? And they're like, oh, you know, yeah, an ability is used there. And I ask, well, what do you think is going to happen? A Reyna just Lear, do you think she's not going to peek that? Or for example, like on bind, a Reyna Lear's like deep into sight, you know, almost near U-Haul or almost near the truck. Where do you think she is? There's a very limited range there. So understanding that is very important as well. I don't want you guys to just sell out and over rotate. What I do want you to think about is playing also in positions where you have an easier time rotating. Fracture, for example, on A site. Is it A site or is it B site? Let's see. I think it's A site. Fracture A site, right? When you're playing in rope, you know, if you want to rotate over to B, do you want to play in the site or play on rope where it's a faster rotate? Well, for me as a smoke player, I can know that I can play in rope and I can smoke over to B main to help my teammates, right? That's where I want to play. I want to play in positions that allow me to get over and support my team quicker and to be there to help them while still being able to defend my site and use the information properly. If you see information, you need to make sure you're using it properly. And here's the final thing I want to say. If you are not asking your team if they need you to rotate in the year 2022, in episode 5, if you still do not ask your team if they want you to rotate, you have failed. Okay, it's time to communicate. It's time to talk to your team. One of my most common call outs or asks of my team is, hey, do you need us to rotate? Like, you know, what's going on over there? Tell us, let me know. I am more than happy to help. You just have to give me the info. And that's where I need you guys to step it up some more as well. But these faster rotates are going to help you more than you realize. Promise you. And guys, that's going to do it for the video today. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, and of course, subscribe for more. I got some awesome videos planned. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy and peace.